All right, today we're jumping into a part of the Old Testament that, let's be honest, most of us probably skip over. Leviticus chapter 3. And yeah, on the surface, it just looks like this dry, ancient list of rules. But I promise you, hidden inside is this incredible secret about community, about connection, and what it really means to have a relationship with God. So, let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this straight up. It's a simple question, but it gets right to the heart of everything we're talking about today. I mean, it might sound a little out there, maybe even a bit strange, but this idea, a shared, sacred meal with God, well, believe it or not, that's exactly what the ancient Israelites were doing thousands of years ago.
This whole thing was called the peace offering, or shalamim in Hebrew. And what makes it totally unique, different from all the other sacrifices you read about, is that it was a shared meal. Think about that. A piece of it went to God, a piece went to the priests, and then the rest of it was given right back to the person who brought the offering so they could go share it with their family and their friends.
This is just such a brilliant picture of the whole idea, right? So you gotta stop thinking of this as some super serious, somber ritual. Instead, picture it more like a divine dinner party, a holy barbecue even. It was this real, tangible way to celebrate that the relationship between God and people was good, that it was harmonious.
But to really get why this was so important, we have to dig into the name itself. The Hebrew word shalamim has a massive clue inside it, because it comes from a word that most of us have heard but maybe don't fully get.
Yeah, that word is shalom. And look, we all know that word, right? We usually translate it as peace. But the thing is, peace doesn't even begin to cover it. In Hebrew, the meaning is so much bigger, so much richer. It's not just about, not having a war.
No, shalom is about a state of total well-being. It's about feeling whole in your soul. It's about completeness in your life, harmony in your relationships. It's about being reconciled with God and with the people around you. So you see, the peace offering wasn't just about feeling calm. It was a ritual to actually create and celebrate this all-in, all-encompassing shalom.
Okay, so like any good dinner party, this one had some really specific rules. And they weren't just random rules either. They were there to teach a super important lesson about the relationship between us and God.
So there were two huge no-nos at this feast. First, the fat. Now back then, fat was gold. It was energy, richness. It was considered the absolute best part of the animal. And that had to be burned on the altar, given completely and totally to God. The message was crystal clear. You give your very best, the most valuable part, to God first. Then there was the blood. The blood was seen as the life force itself, the very essence of being alive. So it had to be drained and never, ever eaten. It was this powerful symbol that said, life itself belongs to God.
And the Bible doesn't mince words here. It says this isn't just a suggestion, it is a permanent statute. This command draws a really clear line in the sand. People could enjoy the feast for sure, but the very best part in the essence of life itself, those were reserved for God. And this right here, sets the stage for a massive change down the road.
Because fast forward a few centuries, and this entire idea of the peace offering, especially that super strict rule about the blood, is about to get flipped completely on its head. It leads to this just radical reinterpretation.
Think about it. At the Last Supper, Jesus holds up a cup of wine and says these words. For everyone in that room, for any Jewish person who grew up with the laws of Leviticus, the idea of drinking blood, even if it's symbolic, would have been absolutely shocking, unthinkable. He's taking the one thing that was completely forbidden, the thing that symbolized that life belongs only to God, and he's offering it as a gift. Wow, that is a game-changing reinterpretation of the entire covenant.
So how do people make sense of this ancient ritual today? Well, it depends on who you ask. Different traditions see it through different lenses. In evangelical circles, they often see it as a form of typology. Basically, the peace offering was a foreshadowing, a type of Christ's perfect sacrifice to come. Then you have more liberal or critical scholars who might look at the sociology of it, how the ritual helped build community and, maintain the authority of the priests. And for Catholic theology, there's this direct line of sacramentality. They see this shared meal as a clear prototype, an Old Testament preview of the Eucharist.
But here's the key takeaway, the thing that cuts across these Christian views. The central idea is that Jesus himself becomes the ultimate peace offering. He's not just the guy who brings the peace, he is the shalom. He is the wholeness, the completeness, the reconciliation that ancient ritual was always pointing towards.
Okay, so this is all really fascinating history and theology, right? But what does it actually mean for us?
You and me, right here, right now. How on earth can a sacrificial law from Leviticus have anything to do with our lives today? Well, let's bring it home.
So how do we actually do this today? I think there are 3 really powerful ways. First, offer your best. Just like the fat, the best part was given to God, we can ask ourselves, am I giving God my leftover time and energy at the end of the day, or am I giving him my best? Second, practice reconciliation. The whole point of the offering was to restore shalom, so we can actively go out and work on mending the broken relationships in our own lives. And third, and this is a big one, celebrate community. We can actually transform our normal, everyday meals with family, with friends, with our neighbors, into intentional acts of connection. We can recognize the sacred power that happens when we share a table.
Because really, this is the big lesson. In a world that so often feels like it's pushing us to be isolated and individualistic, the peace offering is this powerful reminder that our faith is meant to be deeply communal. It's not just about me and God, it's about all of us coming together to celebrate that relationship in a shared feast.
So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. In our busy, often divided world, what would it actually look like to reclaim this idea? To see a simple dinner not just as a way to get calories, but as a real opportunity for shalom, a chance to create wholeness and harmony and connection. How could we bring the spirit of that ancient divine dinner party to our own tables today?